Good morning. First of all, this is good. Thank you all for coming today, and thank you to my cousin Chuck for inviting me to be a part of today's event. I wanted to take this opportunity to explain how I feel and also support this new push for better, more sensible gun control laws. We're here today to say enough is enough to mass shootings in our schools, our college campuses, our military bases, and even in our movie theaters. These shootings have got to stop. I don't know how else to say it. Maybe the worst part about all this is that there is a common sense way to stop mass shootings. There are many ways. For me, the pain I share with so many other Americans on the issue of gun violence, it was made extremely personal to me on Thursday, July 23rd, when I'm not even going to say his name, when he sat down for my movie, Trainwreck, at the Grand Theater in Lafayette, Louisiana. 2 lives were tragically lost and others injured. And I've thought about these victims each day since the tragedy. Jillian Johnson, who was an artistic force in Louisiana, she was 33. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wonderful wife. She was an artist. I think we would have been friends. And Macy Bro, who was just 21, she planned on marrying her high school sweetheart. She was an honor student at Louisiana State University in Eunice, where she was studying to become a radiology technician. She was kind and she loved her family very much, and she always made time for them. When I heard about this news, I was completely devastated, and I wanted to just go down to Louisiana. And then I was angry. My heart goes out to Jillian and Macy, to the survivors, to the families, and everyone who was tied to this tragic, senseless, and horrifying actions of this man who shouldn't have been able to put his hands on a gun in the first place. I'm not sure why this man chose my movie to end these 2 beautiful lives and injure 9 others, but it was very personal for me. Anyone who knows me knows that I love Louisiana. It's my favorite state. Whenever I have a couple days off, I go down there, and because I love the people there. They're the coolest, strongest people I've ever met. And the thought of this community being turned around and upside down by this just sickens me. Excuse me. Unless something is done and done soon, dangerous people will continue to get their hands on guns. We know what can happen when they do. I was heartbroken when I heard about Columbine and Sandy Hook and Aurora and so many other names of places that are seared into our memories. And I was heartbroken again when I heard about Lafayette, and I still am. And what Chuck said here today, it deserves unanimous support. We'll never know why people choose to do these painful things, but sadly we always find out how. How the shooter got their gun. And it's often something that shouldn't have happened in the first place. And today's push makes so much sense because it seeks to address the how. We need a background check system without holes and fatal flaws. We need one with accurate information that protects us like a firewall. The critics scoff and say, well, there's no way to stop crazy people from doing crazy things, but they're wrong. There is a way to stop them. Preventing dangerous people from getting guns is very possible. We have common sense solutions. We can toughen background checks and stop the sale of firearms to folks who have a violent history or a history of mental illness. We can invest more in treating mental illness instead of slashing funding. These are not extreme ideas.
Right.
And what Chuck is describing, they're sensible measures and restrictions. Right. And no one wants to live in a country where a felon, the mentally ill, or other dangerous people can get their hands on a gun with such ease. The time is now for American people to rally for these changes. These are my first public comments on the issue of gun violence, but I can promise you they will not be my last.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for questions. We're going to limit them to this subject, if that's okay.
And we've been listening to an emotional Amy Schumer, who's teaming up with her cousin, New York Senator Chuck Schumer, calling for tighter gun control laws. This all comes in wake of the devastating shooting that happened last month at a Louisiana movie theater that killed 2, Amy Schumer speaking out for the first time on gun control, promising it won't be her last time. Senator Schumer wants to unveil a three-part plan, and it would basically include asking the legislation would create monetary rewards for states that submit all necessary records into the background check system and penalize states that do not. He'll also call on Congress to preserve mental health funding and substance abuse programs. They are asking for, they're basically saying enough is enough, and they're calling for reasonable limits on the Second Amendment, refusing to let these tragedies continue. And Senator Schumer also saying we just cannot let mass shootings become commonplace. Again, actress Amy Schumer teaming up with her cousin there. We can expect to hear more on her about gun control in the weeks to come.